Shana Tova, happy Rosh Hashanah. Welcome to my kitchen. I am getting ingredients out at the moment because it is time. It is finally time to actually start preparing my Rosh Hashanah dinner. I'm hosting for Erev Rosh Hashanah. It'll just be family, but there's still a bunch of us, so it's time. But I am actually starting with dessert. Yes, because you know why? I feel like, did you guys watch? Obviously you watched the Barefoot Contessa show on Food Network, Ina Garden. She always began her meals by cooking dessert. Anyway, so that's where we are. Of course, I've prepped a lot of stuff and have frozen a lot of stuff like over the past few weeks, but I'm going to be cooking a lot for actual Erev Rosh Hashanah dinner, which is in 3 days. But I wanted to start with this cookie recipe because my friend Liz posted it on her Instagram. The recipe is from Overtime Cook, and I'm just pulling it up now, getting all the ingredients out, and that's what we're starting with. So my menu, as it were, is, well, should we start with dessert? I've got cookies, apple cake, honey cake, is that it? Fruit, you know, the usual. And then for the main dinner, I'm going to be making the most delicious Jewish brisket, and I have a very special delicious ingredient for that. I also am going to be making chicken or salmon. I have both prepped and ready, and I will make that decision very shortly. And then Kugel, vegetables, chicken noodle soup, we got it all. So thank you for being here. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Marian. I make videos about being a mom and being a Jewish mom. So if you like this kind of content, don't forget to hit that red subscribe button down below. When you go to YouTube, you'll just see my videos pop up in your feed, and give this one a big thumbs up to let me know you like it and to wish me a Shana Tova, and that's what I'm wishing you. Okay, let's get started. So like I mentioned, these cookies were new to me, but they were so delicious, and I actually really recommend them as a recipe that's easy to do with kids because it could not be simpler. It's like, you know, put everything in, stir it together, bake it. I mean, you do have to roll the cookies to get the crinkle effect, but I feel like that's also really fun for kids, and it's just not something you can mess up. Like, you know, however they handle the dough or roll it or whatever, like, it'll come out delicious and great. It's also a parve recipe, which is pretty, you know, hard to find with yummy desserts. It uses oil as its base instead of butter, but that helps it be parve, which is nice. Also, if ever you see my phone out while I'm filming, I'm also grabbing clips for Instagram. So if you ever want to see things going live, you know, follow along with my day, that kind of thing, definitely follow me on Instagram because I'm always sharing what I'm getting up to. So basically you put everything in the mixer, and then you add in the dry ingredients, the flour, at the end, and I'll put all the recipe details and like ingredient specific kind of notations in the description of my YouTube video. If you ever have trouble finding it, right below the video that you're actually watching, it says something like expand for more, and you click that, and that's where all the details of everything I share. I always link any products I'm using that you guys might ask about, put any recipe details, all that kind of thing is found in the description of the video. Also, while I'm giving some notations as I mix this dough together, another question I always get asked about is like, what does it mean to subscribe to a YouTube channel? So when you hit subscribe, you're just letting the algorithm know you'd like to see more of my videos when you open YouTube. So while the dough is chilling in the refrigerator, I just tidied up from the little mess I made making the dough, and now I'm going to get everything ready to roll the balls of dough in. I think you do first granulated sugar and then icing sugar, and that's how you get that crinkled honey effect. So after your dough has chilled at least an hour or two, when you first put it in the refrigerator, you're going to be like, oh goodness, this is a wet dough. It'll be fine once it refrigerates. You're going to make 2 little bowls, one with regular sugar, one with icing sugar, and then you're just going to take your dough and using a ice cream scoop so that all the balls are even size, you're going to roll it into a ball and then roll it first in the regular sugar and then in the icing sugar. I will say, I think I made these a little bit big. I would almost do a half size next time because although they baked fine and were great, I just think they would be better a little bit smaller. They're not a terribly rich cookie, but I think the way they bake and the crinkling and everything might be better in a little bit smaller of a shape. So that's my little tip. And now it's time to roll out all 24, I think is what I got, honey cookie balls. Okay, so this is what they look like ready to go into the oven. They do spread a tiny bit, but mine didn't touch each other, doing 3 in a row on my baking sheets. Okay, so I just took the first batch out of the oven, and those ones need like 2 more minutes. I put them in a tad later. And when they came out, I just took my little spatula and just pat them down very gently because they were a little dome shape, and personally I just like them flatter. Other than that, they look amazing. Okay, and then this is my Michael dish and for the honey, and my Annie glass plate. Here's the topper for that. So I'm just gonna put the cookies on, and I think that'll look really beautiful for the table. Here they are, all crinkle cut and gorgeous on my Annie glass plate with my little honey dish. That's a Michael one. Again, I'll link everything below. And now it's time to move on to the rest of the meal. Okay, it's now the Friday before Rosh Hashanah. Yes. And we are at Trader Joe's. How do you know? We need meat, chicken, flowers, also. Okay, I am back from Trader Joe's. That was super easy, and I think I have everything I need. I am going to be making our brisket right now and our kugel, and I might roast the vegetables too, and then put everything in the refrigerator for Rosh Hashanah. I'll just quickly heat it up right before dinner, but that'll be good to go. And I want to share with you guys first about the recipe for the brisket, because that's what we're gonna do first. Okay, so I have my slow cooker here, and that's what I'm gonna cook the brisket in. This is the brisket I bought. I got it at Trader Joe's. It's the Teva brand of kosher foods. It's a lot kosher. It's got all textures on it, and it's so amazing that Trader Joe's carries this. You don't have to go to a specialty store. I think they don't have it all year round though. Probably just the high holidays is what I've noticed, maybe depending on where you live, but it's so good and very reasonably priced. Speaking of amazing kosher food, I want to share with you guys the Tabatchnick brand. So Tabatchnick is actually the oldest family soup maker in the United States. I think they're from 1905. I definitely grew up with all of these products. I have such a strong visual memory of the broths and everything that the company makes. And what's amazing, and the reason I was really excited to share this with you guys, is I always get comments when I share when something from Trader Joe's that I got is kosher. They're like, our Trader Joe's doesn't have that, or our grocery store doesn't have all that kosher food. So the Tabatchnick broths are now available on Amazon. So I will put the link in the description box down below. So just click that link and check out all they have. You can buy different quantities, different flavors. This is the organic low sodium chicken, but first I'm going to be using the beef broth for the brisket, and then I also have a vegetable broth to show you guys. So they have every variety. They're all delicious. I've used them in my cooking. Growing up, my mom used them, so it's pretty exciting. And they are certified Glatt kosher. They have the STAR certification, so if you keep different levels of hechsher and kashrut, it's all right there. The really high quality ingredients, you can use them for soups, marinades, broths. So much traditional Jewish cooking and cooking in general requires a really good broth. So I'm excited to jump in with my brisket recipe, pop open the beef broth, and let's get started. So for my brisket, again, I'll put all the details below, but this recipe is actually a spin-off of one I shared, goodness, must have been maybe a year ago or so. It's one of my tried and true recipes, but in the original recipe, the way I had done it is that you have to do all these things after it cooks in the slow cooker, and that always bothered me because the whole point of the slow cooker was to make things easy in one pot kind of thing. So what I did was I got a tip from actually my old family traditional brisket, and realized that if you add in the broth, then you don't have to do all that, because it has enough of a sauce and enough flavor and everything's good to go, that once you take it out of the slow cooker, I just reheat it in the braising dish you'll see later, but you don't even need to. It's ready to go in the slow cooker, which is so nice. So basically, once you make a rub, put the rub on the brisket and put it in the refrigerator. Then you just make a sauce in the slow cooker, and you only need your brisket to sit in the rub for about 20 minutes, and you'll notice the sauce doesn't go over the brisket. So the rub will still sit on top of the brisket as it cooks. And the really delicious sauce with the really delicious Tabatchnick broth will just go in the slow cooker for about 9 hours, and then you can take it out and eat it. Or if you don't want to eat it right at that time, you can heat up the sauce with the brisket in like a brazier on the stovetop and be good to go. Okay, moving on to my Kugel. This was seriously, I'm not kidding guys, the most delicious Kugel I ever made. It was so good. Usually I just use margarine or butter and raisins in my Kugel. I kind of like a really simple Kugel. But this time I added eggs, vanilla, honey. That's about it though. I still kept it pretty simple. And really bizarrely, I used paprika noodles because I was at Trader Joe's and they didn't have lochshen noodles. But it was delicious. Like it was a thicker noodle, but it was fine. It absorbed the sauce and it was really good. So these are the paprika noodles that I'm just heating in the pot. You want to cook them all the way through before putting them in your Kugel. And you want to make sure that after they've cooked, they've cooled down a little bit because you don't want to scramble your eggs when you mix the egg mixture with the noodles. Also because they were paprika noodles, they were like really long, so I had to use a knife to chop them up. If you get normal lochshen noodles, you won't have to do that. So traditionally you buy an egg noodle or a lochshen noodle, and then you don't have to worry about chopping up long strands of paprika. But if you go to Trader Joe's and they don't have that, then you can use the paprika, and it really was delicious. I also did a splash of cinnamon on top right before I baked it, and the top layer like got all crispy and delicious, and it was so good. Okay, so I just took the Kugel out of the oven and it smells amazing. If you've never tried Kugel before, please do yourself a favor and either make some or buy some because it is seriously so good. And I was worried about the paprika, but I made like a little side one just so I could like taste the flavors, and it's delicious. I actually like the thickness of the noodle, so 10 out of 10 for the Kugel. Loving it. Now it's time to slice the brisket. I just want to show you guys how tender and delicious it is. It was so good. It slices so easily. Like I said, you could serve it right there and then, but I heated it up later in the pan, so I just put everything in that braising pan, and I put the braising pan in my refrigerator. So just dumped all the sauce in, put the meat in. I did heat it up just to show you guys, and then put it in the refrigerator, and it's good to go. Shana Tova, guys. It is finally Rosh Hashanah. The day is here. Well, it's Erev Rosh Hashanah tonight, and that means it's time to finish all the cooking. I'm actually already dressed and ready. Dinner's just at our house, so I'm keeping it pretty simple. And I have the brisket done, the Kugel's done. I'm going to grill or roast the salmon and vegetables now, and then I'll pop them into the fridge and then take them back out for dinner. But basically everything will be completely cooked. So then this afternoon, like probably an hour before I want to serve the dinner, I'll just take everything out, bring it to room temperature, pop it in the oven so it's hot and fresh and ready to go. And of course I'll show you all of it. So let's get started with the fish and the veggies. Okay, so by the way, all my baking dishes are the caraway pan. So what's really nice about that is they have a non-stick element. If you aren't using non-stick pans, you might want to use a liner, not foil, but I would use parchment paper for this, or bake it in a like ceramic dish just so it doesn't stick. So for the dressing topping for my salmon, Trader Joe's has a vegan Greek goddess style dressing, so I used that, and then I mixed it with the vegetable Tabatchnick broth to make it a little bit less thick, so it was a little bit better to cover the salmon in. Otherwise it just kind of sits on top of the fish and doesn't fully flavor the whole piece. So I like adding the vegetable broth. Again, it's the Tabatchnick one. You can get it on Amazon, and it tastes so good. So the salmon I just got at Trader Joe's, just put it out on the pan and then cover it in the little sauce that mixture that you made. I think I added salt and pepper. That was really it though, pretty simple. And then my little Rosh Hashanah secret trick is I do just a drop of honey on top of each piece, like one little drizzle. It's so good. Honey and salmon is a delicious mixture. Okay, then for the vegetables, I'm keeping it really simple. What I like to do is if I'm making more flavorful, like intricate proteins like the salmon and the brisket, then I feel like the sides need to be more simple to complement them. So for the potatoes and the carrots, and then I also did the green beans, the haricots verts, and the mushrooms, I just use oil, salt and pepper, and I did a tiny bit of like green spices, I call them, basil, that kind of thing, tarragon, but really pretty simple. Okay, so I just took out the salmon and some of the veggies from the oven. I took out the green beans and the mushroom. The salmon tastes so good, like even better than I remembered and expected. Very excited for that. And the veggies are perfect. And then I just have the carrots and potatoes in for 10 more minutes, and then we are good. It's about an hour before our guests are set to arrive. And hello, who do we have here?
Max.
Hi, Max. Shana Tova. What do you want for the new year? What's your Rosh Hashanah wish? What are you hoping for this year?
I wish that I could get more of the folding mini dinos.
More folding mini dinos. Anything else? Anything that's not a thing? Anything you want to happen, or?
I want everyone to. I want a lot of people to listen to me.
You want everyone to listen to you? Okay. And what are you thankful for?
I'm thankful for that I got a lot of dinos.
Okay, so it's about an hour before all the food needs to go into the oven. So I just took it all out of the refrigerator so it can like come to room temperature. And I'll show you what I got going on. Honey cake, what's left of it. Apple roses cake. This is the Kugel. One set of vegetables. Second set of vegetables, the salmon. Over there is the chicken noodle soup that my mother-in-law made and dropped off. The challah, the brisket. Yeah. And then I need to tell you what I'm thankful for, what I'm hoping for, right?
Please eat me.
So over here, I've got the honey cookies and stuff for the blessings. Table's getting ready. I'm very thankful for these little boys and our family and all of you guys who've been watching. I really appreciate it. And everyone who's subscribed and been part of this community this year. I'm wishing you all the blessings, a year of good health and happiness. Yes, Rocky, I think Rocky would like a Shana Tova wish too, huh, Rocky? He is in all the videos, you just don't always see him, but he's always there. Wishing everyone a good year. All right, I will show you how everything looks right before you eat it, but I'm signing off and wishing you a Shana Tova. So here is how everything looked just before we serve dinner. This is the chicken matzo ball soup that my mother-in-law makes. It's so delicious. My sister-in-law brought over this gorgeous squash salad, which is so perfect for fall. And then there's the salmon and the potatoes, the vegetables, and the brisket, of course, my lochshen kugel, and the other vegetables. And let me also show you guys. So that was inside the kitchen. That's how I just displayed everything, all the food put out. And then I put the desserts in the buffet, on the buffet in our dining room, the honey cake, some fruit, the apple cake, and the honey cookies. So that's it. Shana Tova.